Right, welcome back to Radio Nation. I'm your host, Nicholas Pescod. It is almost 8:30 here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And our first guest for tonight is a guest who has sung the national anthem, or sang the national anthem, however you want to say it, throughout Detroit, and that includes at the Detroit Pistons games, NASCAR, and the Detroit Lions, and most recently at the Detroit Tigers game. She's also done this, saying the national anthem, vice president, and in America's Got Talent 2008 on the line from now is Florida, but originally you're from Detroit, Michigan, if I'm correct. Sarah Lenore, welcome to radio for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, welcome to the show, and I guess I gotta first ask you. So you just moved to Florida recently?
Yes, I moved to Nashville about 4 years ago from Michigan, and then the past year and a half I've been going back and forth, Miami, Nashville. So I get the best of both worlds. It's really nice.
All right, so kicking off the interview here, you started singing at 8 years old, if from what I've read, and you started doing a tour with the National Broadway Touring Musical. Tell us about that experience and how you really got started singing first off.
When I was 4, I saw my musical, and I instantly fell in love with the stage and the lights and gratification. So when I was 4, I did my first musical, and I was Rue. And that was the most exciting thing for me. So I just grew up doing musical after musical, and I landed a gig. The auditions were in Detroit, actually, doing Showboat, which was on Broadway at the time. And I did 88 shows of that, exactly. And I was 8 years old, and it was the most amazing experience. I don't know, do you remember the show Happy Days?
Yep, I do.
Okay. Mr. C from Happy Days, Tom Bosley, he was in the show with me, and that was my show, and it was just, media attention and really fun as an 8-year-old to do. So that's what I grew up doing, was acting and singing.
So after the age of 8, when did you start to get super serious about your career? And I guess from the time you were 8 years old until just recently?
Wow, it's like a life story.
Yeah, really.
A life biography. When I was 13, quit the acting gig. I thought I was pretty bad at acting and kind of better at singing. I stopped the acting, and I developed my own band in Michigan, and it happened to be the same band that I know now and I use now in Michigan. So I love them dearly for that, and they're great to me. I just turned 23, so that's almost 10 years with the same musicians.
What's the band called?
What's that?
What's the band called?
Sarah Lenore Band.
There you go. So it's the same group from Michigan.
Very original. It's just me.
There you go.
But they're Detroit's veteran players,
right.
And doing free gigs with this young girl. It was amazing. It was really, really cool of them. We started to tour the Midwest and do all the county fairs and festivals and opening acts for any country music star that came to town. I think I opened for Randy Travis 4 or 5 times, and LeAnn Rimes and Joe Nichols and Lone Star. When I was 16, I had an offer to do my first CD in Detroit, and I had a producer there help me out and give me this huge opportunity. So I actually graduated high school at 16, and I started working on my record full time. And once that was done, I don't know how, but through a friend of a friend of a friend of a cousin, the CD got to Nashville for some odd reason. And I had a call from Nashville once when I was 16 from a publishing company, and they said, "Oh my gosh, we want to work with you. Who are you? Where do you live? I want to meet you." So I was actually in Nashville 24 hours later, and that kind of whole commuting back and forth to Nashville from Michigan thing. And I worked a lot in Nashville, just trying to get my feet wet, trying to get to know everybody, do all the bar gigs, sing everywhere, writing every day. And as soon as I turned 19, I made the permanent move to Nashville.
Now,
that's my story up to Nashville.
All right, so tell us a little bit about what is the experience like being from Michigan, which isn't typically known as, you know, the country hub of America, obviously, and being a country singer from Michigan, when obviously styles of artists that are more known from Michigan. What's that like for you, and what was it like going to Nashville at such a young age, and how was that experience?
It was really fun singing country in Michigan because of what you're saying. There's not many people who do it, so there's like a group of us, like a handful of us, and it's really fun to see the other country singers that other sing and other know each other. Come to a point where I couldn't read much more country music in Michigan. So going to Nashville was like this huge door was opened, and there was just not only country music, but just a music town 24/7, day and night, everywhere you go. Everyone's beautiful. Everyone's talented. You know, I felt really, really, you know, like at home, and just a really fun experience for me. I really, really enjoyed Nashville for sure. And
now you were on in 2008, and talk to me about that experience and how did that happen?
I never auditioned for Idol or any other reality show ever, but they were actually coming to Nashville, and I still wasn't going to do it. I don't know. I don't really believe in like waiting 24 hours in line for maybe getting an opportunity to sing. I just, you know, I never did it. But I was driving, and I was listening to the radio, and they had a contest, and they said if you call in, and, you know, some people will sing, we're going to choose a winner, and you will get an appointed time to audition for American Got Talent. So I said, what? And I called and I sang, and they said, you know, you won the contest, so show up tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. audition. And I am still, I didn't really believe it. But anyways, I show up, I go to the audition place, and there's like, you know, 8,000 people there, and there's half of them look like me with their guitars, and I just thought, oh no, here we go. But I went there, and it was actually true. I had like my name on a list and everything, and all the judges were there, and all the producers and executive producers were there. It was still nice and early in the day, so they were refreshed, and their ears were still, you know, fresh and young, and I guess enjoyed and had called me back for the next audition round, and it was almost 8 months of like auditioning back and forth from Atlanta to Vegas to LA until you got to like the live shows. So that's how that happened.
And what did you take away from your experience on America's Got Talent, and how does that help you move forward as an artist?
Totally. There's no bad promotion at all. I had altogether almost 4 million views on YouTube, and you know, you got to sing in front of 20-some million people a night live. It was just an amazing experience. The radio show thing, it's a different. I had to go. You know, it's and TV thing in the LA world. I'm just used to kind of grabbing a guitar and singing. So I had to like really learn how to do the TV thing and the camera thing, and you know, rehearsing for 20-some hours, and so that was a really good experience for me. But I left with just only positive vibes and positive things, and tons of promotion that made me kind of stick out more in Nashville, because you kind of need that. You need something different these days to get noticed. You need to be on a reality show, or you need to have a fan base already started. So from there, I actually met the people I'm working with now, and I started recording my record, which I'm on, and I'm trying to do this independent deal and promoting independently, and which is good because I'm now talking to you, so it's nice to have people like you do these shows so that we get ourselves out there.
Well, thank you very much for the comment. And my next question is difficult task, or what has been the biggest challenge for you as an artist throughout your career?
I think it's when the doors shut in your face. and you hear so many no's. And I hear, successful, not even artist, person in any industry always say that, I was told I would never work in this town. I was told no 1,000 times. The door was shut. And, the door's shut hard in my face. And you just kind of have to get up and open the window and start going and going again and keeping your self-esteem up yourself and in your decisions. I'm very careful and very, I think, all my career moves and decision moves, and don't really act off of desperation and just try to take my time with things. And sometimes I think I take too much with my decisions, but opposite. So it's just the keeping the drive and the dedication there. And it gets hard. It gets faded. The flame kind of goes away when someone says no, or again the door's shut. So it's just keeping that momentum going and always believing in yourself. And it's kind of been difficult, even recently. So I'm just trying to open some more windows and just keep going, because I ain't stopping.
Well, that's good. And then obviously you're not stopping. So you've done the national anthem. I mentioned this earlier, but you've done the national anthem at quite a few places, mostly sporting events within Michigan. That you've done nerve-wracking for you to do, or which event was the most nervous for you to sing?
Oh my God! When I at the time the Vice President Dick Cheney, it was horrible. It was shocking. I was I don't know how old I was. It was in my early teens, and there was this huge in Michigan, and I had been asked to come and sing. And like I said, I've done it a billion times, no big deal, no problem. And I go to the event, and of course it's like black tie event, and all this security and bodyguards and walkie-talkies and guns and police and media, and I just really wasn't expecting that at all. I was actually with my mom. My mom was I call her my momager back in the day. She went everywhere with me and helped me with everything. And so that just made me nervous, not even the singing part. Just kind of being in that vicinity was really nerve-wracking. And I remember being backstage, and there was 30 cameras and TV shows and all these photographers, and I hear all the flashes, and the vice president is talking, and I'm just getting more and more nervous. And all of a sudden, people backstage are like, "You need to sit down. Are you okay?" And I said, No, I'm fine. I have the note in my head because I sing it a cappella, humming the note, and all of a sudden I just totally forget the lyrics. I don't know how it begins. What's the first word? I just get this huge, when you just blank. So I had to regain my composure, and I got on stage and I sang it, and everything went fine, thank God. And I got off stage and just literally collapsed. I was done over it. I just needed, I needed a drink or something. It was the nerve-wracking thing I have ever done. And the anthems are always nerve-wracking, always. So there's a lot of pressure. So I think that was my worst nerve-wracking story for sure.
Who has been your biggest influence musically for you? And maybe not even musically, but who has been your biggest influence throughout your career?
My biggest influence, I would say, idolizing Leanne Rimes, because she started really, really well and obviously sang country music. I completely was obsessed and idolized her growing up. I know, and even to this day, I know every song and every record by heart, every breath she made, note she said, how she sings. It's kind of scary, really, just got involved with her. And I don't know, I think I have to say my parents too. They actually just celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary a few days ago. So I kind of grew up with a loving family that's very supportive and that's not in the industry. So that's really good for me. I was never pushed or made to do anything, but they just kind of supported and just helped. And, all these years later, they still do the same thing. So I don't know, support around me. So that's those are my biggest influences for sure.
If you're just live with Sarah Lenore, 2000 talent finalist. All right, Sarah. So I got to ask you, being from Detroit and and we talked about that, but do you talk a lot about when you go down to Nashville? Pride yourself and really sing or at least write that in your songs, your passion from being from Michigan?
Yes, of course. I'm the proudest ever. I love saying it. I love saying Detroit. I just sound cooler. I actually wrote, I think, 3 songs about Michigan. So, 4. I've written 4 songs about Michigan. And there's actually a lot of people in Nashville, the area. And so it's a good hometown, and I love it, and I scream it all the time. Some people are probably annoyed, but I love it.
Is it hard? I haven't been there in any, but I guess everything. It must be pretty tough in the area, in Detroit especially, just with the auto industry kind of tanking.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta ask, does it make you even prouder that you're from that knows perseverance firsthand?
Completely. I started doing this just because I wanted to make it for myself and be happy. And with your question, I've kind of realized over the years, like, I want it so bad, my parents, and now for my grandparents, and now for, Michigan. I just the list of how bad I just, want to kind of represent and help. And I don't know, do you remember the new commercial that Eminem just did?
Yeah, it's good. It's one of those on this show. It's one of the best commercials I've ever seen.
Okay, I started crying when I saw it. Like, I can't believe you're at that status. You're Eminem, like him or hate him. He still has that pride, and he's still doing it whenever he can, and I love that about him. I respect that so much, and I pray to God I get something like that I can do that someday. I love it. It gives me goosebumps all the time.
Yeah, when I played it on the air, I said if I was from my car based on that ad, it's really good. Exactly. My grandpa is obviously from Michigan his whole life, and he kind of, in the 40s saw the boom of Detroit, and then saw it as of now, the Depression and the recession and all that. And he, on his free time, he goes to Detroit twice a week. He delivers like baked goods to the homeless and shelters and schools. And he's been doing that for years and years and years. And I went with him just recently, like I always do, and seeing it just get worse and worse every year, it just kind of, it's heartbreaking. It's crazy. It's like you can see a tumbleweed through the entire city of Detroit. It's really crazy. So just hoping for the best, but I know it's pretty hard for people now. Speaking of going back to Michigan, as a fan who's listening, where can we expect to see you if we want to see you out there? I mean, I know you're down in Florida now, but will you be back in the northeastern part of America, or maybe even coming up to Canada someday?
Yeah, totally. I don't have any plans as of now. I just sang, recorded, and did a music video for a hopeful reality show about the Michigan State Police Academy. And it's really cool. It's a really cool idea. And they asked me to sing the theme song to the show because I also sing the theme song for the NCAA, the women's NCAA. So I was, honored when Michigan called to ask if I would do that. So I've been back and forth doing some things for that. So for now, just, my Twitter and my Facebook and my YouTube account is the way to reach me now, or iTunes. But if I'm planning or happen to go, I'll for sure let you know. Definitely. I'd love to meet you. Actually, do you know who Seth Rogen is?
Yes.
You sound like him, like your voice.
Well, thank you.
Does anyone ever say that?
No one's ever told me that, but everyone said I had a voice for radio, so that's why I'm here.
Totally. But y'all need to listen to Seth Rogen and listen to yourself, because I can't see you, so I don't know who you remind me of, but your voice totally reminds me of Seth Rogen.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
I'd like to know.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything you want to say before we part ways with you for today?
No, just thank you for having me. I love it. I want to come back on more often and update you and, show you new music. But no, just add me on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and we'll keep in touch for sure.
Perfect, and thank you very much for joining us, and you're always welcome back on Radio Nation. You just need to let us know when you got some new stuff, and we'd be more than happy to do another interview with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
That is Sarah Lenore of Detroit, Michigan, very proud Michigan native, and thank you very much for joining us, and have a great night.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Cheers.